Over the past few months, I've read a lot about girl gamers in the community, in the gaming world, and I thought it was finally time for me to go on record, being one of the more vocal girl gamers out there, and discuss my views on a lot of the things that I've read and heard over the past few months. There's a lot of misinformation out there about girl gamers and about what we're here to do and about what a lot of us represent. And I thought it was time that I spoke up and gave my own opinions. Now, that being said, please remember that these are my opinions, and I'm not saying that all of you guys should think and feel the same way I do. I know that a lot of times people get very heated on forum discussions, and it really isn't the same as talking to somebody face to face, or in these circumstances, me actually being able to talk to you via camera and kind of show my passion and hopefully make you understand where I'm coming from here. It really wasn't until the year 2000 when video games became more of a lifestyle for me than just a hobby. I always played games, but I never saw them as anything more than fun and just something to do when I got out of school. In 2000, I met my ex-boyfriend, who introduced me to a game called Diablo 2. We didn't live together, and he was a hardcore gamer. And really the only time I was able to get his attention for 2 seconds was when we were playing a video game. So he ended up buying me my own box of Diablo 2, and we would play every single night together. And he would help me out and introduce me to certain things, and after a while I started playing on my own, and I started asking him about other games. So the two of us went out and bought a game called Kohan, which is a real-time strategy game. And I got hooked on this game. I was absolutely in love with it. And one night when we were all in chat, the topic of gender came up. And I said I was a girl in real life. And all of a sudden the entire room went bonkers. They went insane. They were like, oh my gosh, a girl who plays video games? And I never really thought about it before, but none of my girlfriends played video games, or nobody talked about it anyway. And in the middle of this conversation, another girl spoke up and said that she was also a real life girl. And it was an instant bond for us. We started PMing back and forth and talking differently. It was like we just found a connection in this whole world full of guys. There was another girl. And we decided after a while, and after finding a few more girl gamers, that we would make our own guild called the Proverbial Ice Queens, and it was all girl gamers. And it wasn't that we were segregating ourselves or wanted to be different or wanted to be better. It was just that we had this immediate connection being girls. You'll notice in your everyday life when girls meet each other, they normally hug each other, or they'll get very close, or they'll be almost like sisters. Guys aren't necessarily like that, and it's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing, it's just a different thing. The differences between guys and girls do not end here. Now, I know that for the most part, the whole look is really what people think of when they think of the difference between guys and girls, but there's so much more to it than that. I mean, for prime example, it's like I said earlier, guys normally don't hug each other when they meet. They normally don't, get really close to one another. There's normally not a bond. With girls, it's like a sisterhood. There's a bond. There's something there that's inexplicable that, kind of brings us together. There's no guys out there that are saying, hey, let's go out and form a knitting club, or let's go out and form a scrapbooking club, or how about a shopping club? And if there was, girls wouldn't say anything. Actually, girls would probably be like, yeah, man, rock on, form that knitting club, that's awesome. The only difference between what girls are doing right now is that we're in a guy's environment. It's a hobby that guys and girls both share, and because we want to form clubs or bond or group together, we're all of a sudden segregating. I don't see it as segregation, because we're not saying, no, you can't be a part of us, no, we're not going to game with you. It's just groups and guilds of girls who have something in common, who just kind of want to share that experience of gaming and being with other girls. So, yes, guys and girls are different, and no, it's not about segregation, it's about celebration. It's about girls just wanting to play with other girls every now and then. I know what's going to happen once I post this. My first few comments will be, "Oh my god, you are HAWT. Oh my god, Aktrez, you rock. Oh my god, nice boobs." And then the one right after that will be, "Oh my god, Aktrez, you are such an attention whore. You're not as hot as you think you are." Crickets, crickets, crickets. Okay, when in this entire conversation, well, I know it's one-sided, but when in this entire monologue have I once said anything about me being hot? What a lot of you guys don't realize is that your interpretation of who I am or who any of the girls who are in the public eye are simply formed from what other people are saying. For you to say, oh my God, you don't think you're as hot as you think you are, must mean that somebody out there put it in your head that I think I'm hot, or that a lot of people think I'm hot. That doesn't mean I ever said that, or it doesn't mean I even think that. I'm putting out this video blog because it makes a lot more sense for me to be in front of you and acting out and being crazy and being myself so you can see where I'm coming from instead of me just typing on a keyboard, because it's very informal and you can't always judge a person by what you see them typing. Also, remember that this is a very creative hobby. It's a creative thing. You've got characters that you're forming and worlds that you're getting into. And there are going to be a lot of people out there who are creative people who might be models, who might be actors, who might be musicians, who find this hobby very appealing. Myself included, I'm an actress, and I have been since I was 4 years old, as long as I've been gaming. That doesn't mean that I'm gaming to try and get ahead. And it doesn't mean that pictures that I take are to try and get attention and to get ahead in the gaming world, and I'm using that to try and get my foot in the door. Look, I do both. I'm a gamer and I'm an actress. The two things, you know, they sometimes meet in the middle. You know, if I'm working for a company and I'm on film doing something, or if I get a modeling job where they want me to have controllers on me, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that that happens to be my hobby mixing with my profession. It's not bad. So I think that a lot of people have a really skewed vision of women who are in the public eye. Remember that no woman can be in the public eye if it isn't for the public. Nobody can be famous if it isn't for fans. So you can't really blame the women for all the fanboys out there wanting to see pictures and asking for them and making them famous. Who would turn down fame? I mean, if somebody came to you tomorrow and said, we want to put you on the cover of Vogue, or we want you to star in the next movie, are you going to say no? Are you going to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not good enough. I really shouldn't be doing that. If my picture is out there, somebody sees my picture and says, we want you to star in the next movie, I'm not going to turn it down. And it doesn't mean I'm an attention whore. All it means is I'm a good marketing person. Alright, this brings me to a very sensitive topic for myself, which is the topic of gamers. What is a gamer? If I like to bicycle, and I bicycle every single day, I get on my bike in the morning, and I ride for, let's say, 4 hours a day, every single day. But I don't compete. I don't ride competitively. Does that mean I don't bicycle? Does that mean I'm not a cyclist? No, it doesn't. It means that I'm not a professional cyclist. So, therefore, if I like to play games such as Viva Pinata, God of War, if I like to play Gears of War in single-player mode, if I like to play Kingdom Hearts, if I like to play World of Warcraft but I don't necessarily like to go out on the battleground, if I like to play against the computer in games like, I don't know, Project Gotham Racing, or, you know, who else? Who knows what else? Does that make me any less of a gamer if I'm putting in those hours? If I'm taking that game, I'm putting it into my system and I'm playing it, am I not a gamer because I'm not competing, or I can't kick your ass? I get called out on numerous occasions saying, you are not a gamer. If you are, then fine. Kick my ass at something. Let's meet on the battleground. Look, I can't kick your ass, alright? I can play against you, but if you're a competitive gamer, you're gonna kick my ass because that's not what I'm gaming to do. It doesn't make me any less of a gamer. It just means I'm not a pro gamer. It means I'm not competitive. There are a lot of games out there where you're competitive against yourself, and that doesn't make you any less of a gamer. It just means it can't necessarily prove you're a gamer. We're all gamers. That's the one thing you and I have in common right now. So I'd like to just put it out there to embrace that. And, you know, we have a common bond, so let's share that common bond and let's be friends. Okay? Thanks for listening.